In this video, I'm going to be covering off not 10, not 20, not 30, not 40, but 100 effects and features in DaVinci Resolve 19.
What did he just say?
I'm going to be running through every single effect and feature one by one, so buckle up, there's going to be a lot of information. My name's Dan, and you're watching DanVinci.
1, 2, 3.
I'm going to be dead by the end of this. Oh, and by the way, there's not going to be a very particular order to this. It's going to be quite random because that's the order that I made the list. Number 1.
Here we go!
When you're in any tab on DaVinci Resolve, you can right click over at the bottom near the tabs and just click show only icons. This reduces the amount of space. It's perfect for users with small screens. If you're concerned about audio leveling in your videos, in the Fairlight tab, there's this little guy called loudness, and I cannot tell you enough how useful that is to make sure that all your clips are the same volume. Depending on your keyboard shortcuts, you can create markers in the edit page by double clicking M. Now, double clicking while selecting a clip allows the marker to go onto the clip, or if you double click M without selecting a clip, it'll create a marker in your timeline. To make markers in your timeline move when you ripple delete, to stop basically this from happening, you can go into timeline, click ripple delete markers, wherever it is. Where are you? Yeah, there you go. Ripple timeline markers. Then when you ripple delete, the markers will move with the timeline. You can change color of clips. So here we have a clip here. You can right click on it, click clip color and do, for example, orange. You can also allocate colors to your clips in your media pool. In the top left corner, you can right click on a clip, click flags and click blue, for example. And now that clip has a blue flag. This is perfect for when you're in the color page and you want to, I don't know, sort by flags. So over here in the top left corner, click clips, click flagged clips, click blue, and your blue flagged clip will appear in your color page. You can also change the colors of the tracks themselves. As you can see here, these are all blue. But if I right click here and click change track color, you can change it to yellow, for example. Then any clip that appears on that track will turn yellow. Simples. In the effects tab, you can search, adjust, and drag in an adjustment clip. An adjustment clip is essentially just a layer with nothing on it, like a blank canvas. And what you can do is apply any effect onto this adjustment clip, and then any clip underneath the adjustment clip will have that effect on it. So just as an example, I'm going to put some mosaic blur onto this adjustment clip, like so. There you go. So as you can see, it's got the effect on the adjustment clip only. So when I drag this over to this clip here, that clip also has the effect. Now another one is keyboard shortcuts. If you go into the top left corner, click here, click keyboard customization. Here you're able to customize all of your controls. Speed ramping. I've done a video on this some time ago though. I'll link that down below. To speed ramp any clip that you have, you can right click on it, click retime curve, and then right click, and then click retime controls. And here what you can do is find a particular part of your clip you want to accelerate to, create a keyframe, drag the top here like so, and you'll see this part here is sped up, that part is slowed down, and then click here and you can add an ease in and an ease out. And you can just adjust it like so, and there you go. You've added a speed ramp. In the top right corner in the inspector tab, scroll down to equalizer. Turn this on. Then go to band 4 and drag band 4 just over to the left like so. This creates the effect of any audio to sound like it's behind something, like behind a wall or underwater. In the effects tab, search pitch. Pitch is a great grab and drop effect for audio clips. When you drag it on, this little tab will show, and you can, turn it up, for example, if you want the music, for example, to be high pitched or low pitched. Edge Detect is a fantastic effect that you can, again, drag and drop. It creates this really cool arty effect. I've done a video on this. Go check that one out below. JPEG damage. We're on a roll with the drag and drop effects. Now, initially, when you drag and drop it, it won't look like it's done much. In the right-hand corner in the inspector tab, if you just mess around with these controls, you can make things look really distorted and damaged. Zoom blur, another drag and drop. Zoom blur is fantastic for creating a really atmospheric and cinematic zoom effect. Gaussian blur is the go-to blur effect for, well, blurring your videos like this. You can't see the expression I'm making. Lens blur is another version of Gaussian blur, only it mimics lens blur, quite literally. I'm sure you guys couldn't have figured that out by yourself, but here it is. There you go. Voila. Next. Camera shake is a fantastic way of making camera shake, believe it or not.
Hello there.
Just search camera shake in the effects tab, drag and drop it like so. And of course it's gonna make things a bit wobbly and a bit sickening, but that's fine. Another drag and drop is dent. I use dent on a regular basis to make myself look utterly stupid, but I'm sure there's other use cases. Vortex is another dumb one that makes myself look dumb. Yes. Woo. If you have a clip like this and you want to make it quickly transparent, go into the inspector tab in the edit page, scroll down to composite, click normal and click add. This acts like a luma keyer. It's just fantastic to make a black clip transparent. Similarly, words, you can go onto this clip, go into Fusion and search luma keyer, and this will do the same thing. I also like to add a little bit of glow when things are like these lightning things, just makes it a bit more sparkly. But what if you want to green screen something, like all this money falling from the sky? Well, that's quite simple as well. Go into Fusion, simply click Control Space, then search Ultra Keyer like that. This will create an Ultra Keyer node, then just drag and drop the droplet tool onto the green. If you want to export a transparent frame, for example, and use it for Photoshop, you can do this in the Deliver tab. In the Deliver tab over here, make sure your format is set to TIFF, click Export Alpha, and then reduce your in and out range to 1 frame, then save the location, export it, and you've got a transparent image. In the Effects tab, search Luma Wipe. Drag and drop this between 2 clips like so, and you have this really cool transition. There's also another effect called Burn Away. Drag and drop this like the Luma Wipe, and there you go. You got this really cool distorted fiery effect. In Fusion, if you're finding things a little bit slow, you can also right click over here in this little space here and turn off high quality and turn off motion blur. Obviously you lose the ability to see motion blur, but it does actually speed things up a little bit. Clicking Control G in the Fusion page opens up a nice grid which you can use to, well, align things. If your node tree looks like this, a complete state, you can right click in the node tree area, click line up all tools to grid, and then you can also arrange tools to grid permanently, and this just makes it much easier to arrange and, well, organize.
Organization is key.
If you've got various tracks in your edit page and you want to sync them all together, select all of them, right click on them, click auto align clips, then click waveform, use track number 1 as sort of the anchor track, you know, to align these tracks to that track, click sync, boom, you're done.
Then we are done here.
Now I like to call this area the quick node access. You can right click here and click customize, and you can create your own toolbar, quite literally. All your nodes and right click. You can also select all your nodes and right click and click create macro to create your own shortcuts. This is perfect for graphics. I've done a video on this in the description. In DaVinci Resolve 19, there has been a new feature added which is fantastic called resyncing your bins. Just go up to any bin, right click on it, click resync media files. Any files that have been put into that folder within your file explorer, it will just refresh and you don't have to drag and drop all the time. It's just brilliant.
Yes, brilliant, just right.
If you have a handheld shot like this, you can click on it, go into the inspector tab, go down to stabilization, and you can pick between 3 different options on how you want to stabilize it. And voila, I've now got stabilized clip. It's very quick.
Super fast.
In Fusion, control space and search planar tracker. This is a fantastic way of tracking an object in a 3D space. And just like this with this node tree, I've created this 3D tracked DanVinci logo. It took me seconds.
Seemed like mere seconds, really.
Now, if you have a shot and for whatever reason you are seeing, you know, the edge of it, you can go into the transform, into the inspector, go down to, where is it? Edges, that's it. Click on canvas and you can do duplicate, for example, which duplicates the last pixel at the edge of frame, or you could do like mirror. This is fantastic for zooms and things. So if you want to like do this cool like zoom in, momentarily you can have the mirrored effect so that, you know, it looks like it's just zooming in. In DaVinci Resolve, there's also great layouts. You can go into the top left corner, click workspace, click video clean feed, for example, if you want a clean feed on to edit with. If you've got a spare monitor, you can also do dual screen, which is fantastic for dual screen editing. It makes it so much easier and removes a lot of the clutter. Grid Warper is a fantastic node in Fusion which you can use to warp your footage quite literally, and you can keyframe this so that you can warp things into certain shapes to match another shot, for example, to make the perfect transition. This is a cool effect that I've used recently just here.
Into less space.
Now, if a shot like this that's, you know, been tracked is running slowly, you can speed it up. If you right click on it, click render in place, you can then render in place that shot and it will run smoothly. Or alternatively, in the top left corner, you can turn on something called render cache. A very similar thing to render in place, only it's rendering it behind the scenes when you're not editing. Click playback, click render cache, there you go, and you can choose between smart or user. I've covered this in a video down below. There's also a feature called quick export. Click file, go down to quick export, and you can quickly export a format which is relevant to YouTube, Vimeo, TikTok. This is going to take so long. Oh, I'm already tired. I don't even know what effect number I'm on. To rename a node, you can do F2 on your keyboard, and this will bring up the rename tool. So you can call this, for example, white background renamed. To quickly create a merge node, you can click on one node, click the output, drag it over to the output of the other, and it will spawn in another merge node.
Some kind of spawn of Mongolians.
To quickly add motion blur within Fusion, all you need to do is go into settings in the inspector tab of that object, making sure obviously it's the one with all of the keyframes on it. Go to motion blur, click it on, and you can control the motion blur from there. And like that, you have motion blur. In the spline, you can also add an ease in and ease out to create a very nice effect. Here's some keyframes I have. Let's select them, click this, click T, and voila, you have a nice fluid motion. So here I have two of the same shot. One is color graded and zoomed in, one isn't. So if I want to copy and paste the attributes from this over to here, you can do that by clicking Ctrl C on the clip, then going over to the clip that you want to paste all the attributes on, click Alt V, and then you can select the very particular effects that you want to be copied over. So for example, I want the color and I want the zoom, voila. If you want to animate to the beat of music within Fusion, there's a great technique that I use on a regular basis. I create a Fusion clip, I then find the beat that I want the animation to occur, click M on the keyboard to create a marker on that clip, and then within Fusion in the keyframes tab, you will see that marker appear like so. Clicking T on your keyboard opens up the trim tool. This is fantastic for scrubbing between different parts of your shot without actually having to move it on the edit page. Clicking P on your keyboard goes to full screen mode within the edit page if you're on a single monitor, for example. To avoid using Fusion to create a circle mask, you can use the transform effect in the edit page. Within the transform effect in the inspector tab, you will see the image adjustment. Go down to edge rounding and you can create this circle mask without even needing to go into Fusion. There's also a lot of Fusion settings you can change. In the top left corner, click Fusion settings. Here you can control your proxy. You can also make minor customizable control changes, UI changes, and shortcuts. If you want to quickly mask something within Fusion, you can do that. Whatever you want to mask, click that node, click this little guy right here. This is the polygon node, and then you can just draw a mask, for example, and create a mask. You can also control these and invert them, for example, in the inspector tab. I've done a video on masking. It's actually the most popular video on this channel, so go check that one out down below. How can I forget the magic mask? Of course. The magic mask was the first video ever on this channel. It's a fantastic feature which you can approach it in Fusion. You can also approach it in the color tab, which is the way I like to do it. If you have a black logo and you want to make it white, but you don't know how to do it, just go into the color tab on that object, go into curves, this tab right here, drag it down like that, and it will invert it. If you want to denoise a particular shot, in the color tab, there's a tab called motion effects. It's not perfect, but it certainly makes your shots a lot cleaner and nicer. Another cool effect in the color tab is halation. Halation makes your footage look like film, adding the little bit of a glow around all your objects within your frame. If you want to grab a particular frame and just export it as a still, go into the color tab on the particular frame that you want, go over to gallery, make sure you're on stills, then right click on the clip in the viewer, click grab still, then you'll see this still appear here, right click on it, click export, and you can export it wherever you want. If you want to create a film look for your videos, just search film look creator. This is a fantastic way to create the film look. Another similar effect is analog damage. This is fantastic for creating that sort of TV VHS look for your videos. Searching in the effects tab, drop shadow, you can drag and drop this onto a logo, for example, and add this nice shadow effect. Here's some of the text features you can add. Text plus is the default way if you want to just add text and customize it to your heart's content. Comic title creates a really cool comic-y title effect. To disable an entire track, for example, you can click the disable track button right here, or if you want to disable all of the tracks, you can click hold shift and it will disable all the tracks for you. If you want to disable all the tracks but the one you're on, hold alt and click it. That will disable the other clips but keep the one that you were on. It's quite handy.
Very handy.
Also, all of these rules apply to the auto track selector. If you want to slow down a shot, you can click R on your keyboard and it will bring up the quick access change clip speed panel. From here you can change the percentage of the speed, or you can change it down to the preferred frames that you want, or you can reverse the speed, or you could freeze frame even. There's lots that you can do here. Clicking Ctrl D on your keyboard while selecting a clip in the edit page opens up the clip duration. This is fantastic for, selecting multiple clips and reducing them down to a certain size and duration. Another cool effect is the IntelliTracker in Fusion. Clicking Ctrl space and searching tracker will bring up the IntelliTracker. You can then drag this over to a certain point, for example, and then click go, and this will track that particular object, and then you can attach things to that object quite simply. It's very similar to the planar tracker, but just slightly different. You can swap inputs on the go with your nodes. Clicking Control T on your keyboard can also flip the inputs. As you can see here, the green and the yellow are swapping. It's a fantastic way to just quickly, switch. Can you tell I'm running out of ideas? Super Scale is another feature which actually allows you to upscale your footage. So if you have 1080p, you can make it 4K. Obviously, it's not really 4K, but you can do it. It's in the Inspector tab in the right. I'm running out of energy now. Dynamic zoom in the Inspector tab is also really cool. Literally go into the Inspector tab, turn on dynamic zoom, then change the inputs, then click swap if you want it to zoom in or let it zoom out. Over here in the edit page, you can click thumbnail view and change, for example, the views, so you can get rid of the actual thumbnails on the clips. Now, obviously, this actually runs quicker, so I find a good middle ground is this one right here. Also within this control, you can turn on display stacked timelines. This is fantastic for if you want to switch between timelines on the go within one project. Likewise as well, in this tab, you can also change the way the audio waveforms are displayed in the edit page. And you can also change the track height and the track audio. Holding Alt and clicking your arrow keys can move a clip up and down on the tracks. Really good for quick movement without using the mouse. Should I just clickbait everyone? I mean, I'm at basically effect number 90 at this point. Who's gonna be counting? Who's actually gonna be counting? Like, I'm on 90. Well, I'm on 89, I think. I don't know. Who knows at this point? I don't know. All right, number 77. My hair's grown. It's definitely the same day. If you have the tabs open in your edit page showing the timelines like this, you can easily find them by right-clicking on them, clicking Find in Media Pool, and it will show just here. Another cool feature is actually transcription. You can right-click on the timeline, go down to audio transcription, click transcribe, and give it a moment. Once it's transcribed, you can see everything that's said in your project. Now, a really cool effect is this head bobbing effect, like this. Go into Fusion on your clip, draw space, planar tracker, draw around the thing that you want to be tracked, in this case, my head. Then go into Inspector, make sure the motion type is set to translation. Click set on the main frame, then track it. Make sure the whole thing is tracked as well. There we go, lovely. Then go to operations. No, sorry, don't do that. Then click on stabilize. Now it'll be stabilized to the head. Then just create a transform node right here. Zoom it right in, center your head up or your object. Then when you click play, voila. Magnifico. Another really cool effect is the SABRE effect. This is something that I've used a lot, and I've made a dedicated video for it down below. Basically, in Fusion, it uses displacement and fast noise as its core components to create this really cool SABRE effect. Combined with a glow node, it makes this fabulous effect that you can add to anything. Literally anything.
Really, anything you wanted.
A very small one, but I use it. In the Inspector, you have this little button here. It's quite hidden in the corner. It actually folds up your Inspector tab. So if you have a small screen and you just want to have the Inspector not take up such a huge amount of your display, you can shrink it down. Clicking Alt-S in the node tree area in the color tab creates a node from the right of the node that you have selected, or clicking Control-S, no, that's save, Shift-S creates a node to the left. Now, if you've got this far in the video, you'll remember earlier on we covered markers. Well, if you hold Alt and drag a marker, you can split it in half. It's really good for marking an entire area. If you want to create a cartoon texture effect, maybe make something look like it's made out of paper, use the watercolor effect. Number 85 is the ripple effect. Ripple effect is fantastic for creating this cool ripply distortion on your screen. I've actually covered this in one of my videos. That'll be just in the description, so if you want to check it out, please do. I need views. A really fantastic node that I use very often when creating my own graphics is the keyframe stretcher node. If you've ever wanted to make a graphic longer and you don't want to just jump in and re-keyframe everything and spend ages doing all of that nonsense.
That's nonsense.
You can use the keyframe stretcher. All you do is create your graphic as normal. The bit where you want it to just stretch apart, you just tell the keyframe stretcher that's where you want it to stretch. And then when you just grab it and just stretch it to whatever size you want, the whole thing, the animation doesn't get screwed up, it just works. With the timer that I made, I hope it's on this side. With the timer, I used this literally to make it for these videos. A feature that I've actually turned off because I find it kind of irritating, but you guys might like it, is live media preview. You can only turn this off if the preview is open on your edit timeline. Basically, in the preview section here, what you can do is turn on this thing called live media preview. Basically, it means that whenever you hover over something in your media pool, it will immediately show without you clicking in the preview. This is cool, but when I'm editing and I click play on the edit page, thinking that I'm on the edit page, but my mouse is on the media pool, it plays the preview. It really me off. I get so angry that I turn green and level a city. It's not entirely true, but you get my point. And another obvious one is power bins. If you don't have power bins set up in DaVinci Resolve, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Power bins though, fantastic for organizing files. They're effectively just a folder system that you set up and they stay the same project to project. That means that if you have assets that you use on a regular basis, you can put them in the power bins, and when you open and create a new project, you will have those same assets at your disposal, ready to be layered in. The way you turn it on is in the media pool area. Just go over here to the 3 dots, click here, and you'll see it says just under smart, show smart bins, show power bins. Smart bins, fantastic way of organizing your bins. Smart bins are an amazing way of sorting and organizing your media based on its metadata. This basically means you can program a folder to only show a certain type of format or a certain type of clip, depending on what you want. In the Deliver tab in the top left corner, right at the top, you'll have these 3 dots. Click on them and you'll be able to create your own preset, which means you can save the exact settings that maybe you use regularly and just export straight away without having to fuss with, you know, what codec is what and what format is what and what write speed or whatever, or how many ducks you want. If you're on the color page and you have clips open, so it's just this tab here, you'll see these clips. They should appear all the way down here if you have loads and loads of shots, but in my instance, because I'm making this on the fly, I only have 2. If you want to copy the colors over to here quickly, what you can do is just hover over this, click down on your scroll wheel, and it should just copy the nodes instantly from that shot to this shot, and then you can make changes. If you want to have just a simple basic background, solid color is fantastic. If I drag it in now, you'll see it just creates a black background. Fantastic for just if you want black, but in the inspector you can also just make it whatever color you want. So here currently we have a very simple transition that I've just dropped on. This is literally the stock settings in the inspector, as you can see, but what we can do here is we can add a border, add an ease in and ease out, and all of a sudden it's really smooth and way more interesting. But what's even better is if you right click on the transition, go down to create transition preset, you can then save it as a preset and it will show up separately in your effects and transitions folder for you to use. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to change the color of the Hulk. If you go down to this button here, this droplet tool, the qualifier, then make sure this picker is selected. Go over here, click on this, then just go to this button here. You'll be able to see what you've selected. Click the plus tool so you can select more of that color. So I want to go with more green, and then just using these saturation controls, the hue here, let's just get this nailed down. You can also use this denoise tool here, denoise it. Now what we can do, go to the hue and change the color of the Hulk. That's simple. And now for the final 5 effects. I hope they are. Otherwise, you've been clickbaited. I've accidentally created something and I've figured out that I can show you a feature. Basically, what's happened here is my work layouts has just glitched out, and this happens quite often to me. So if this happens to you, if you go into workspace and go to reset UI layouts, there you go. It's fixed. Didn't even mean to have that one as an example, but that was actually kind of useful. A really, really useful feature that you need to know about as an editor is in the top left corner. If you click on DaVinci Resolve, go down to Preferences, then go to Project Save and Load in User. Down here, you'll have the backup location. Also, just make sure that all of these are ticked and your backups are happening like every 2 to 5 minutes. I wouldn't go any further than that. This has saved my bacon on a million occasions. I just need to think of 3 more effects and features. What are they going to be? This isn't a feature, but this is just something that DaVinci Resolve haven't fixed for years. But basically, if you use speed ramp and create a keyframe and then drag it beyond the point of your shot, as you can see on screen, and the keyframe disappears into the ether of nothingness, this will happen. Your Resolve will go into this weird limp mode and then just fail and crash. It's done this for years and they've never fixed it. I don't know whether they're aware of it, who knows? But if you're watching Blackmagic, I'm doing your job for you. Just something to avoid. It's a feature if you want to crash your work. Just like earlier with the tabs, you can go into the top left and right click in this area and it will do show only icons. Once again, we'll juice it down, perfect for someone with a small screen. And number 99, you can create and generate subtitles automatically in DaVinci Resolve very, very easily. All you need to do is create an in and out point on your timeline, click I or click O, then go over to timeline, go scroll down to create subtitles from audio, voila, you can just click create and it will just generate subtitles for you. And finally, the 100th effect and feature. It's a big one. It's the fact that you can't import files if they have an emoji in them. Yes, I know I'm sort of trolling you here, but just hear me out. If a file name of like an MP4 file has an emoji in it, it will not go into your edit page at all. It just will go, nope, it won't even say anything. It won't say error, won't give you an explanation. Why? Why? Anyway, back to slightly younger me with slightly shorter hair to outro this video. This has been taking so long to do. That has been 100 effects and features. kind of crucify me in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. There's obviously been a lot of information and I've skipped across everything, but if you want me to go into more detail about a specific effect or feature, let me know in the description. Let me know in the comments. It's been a long recording session, all right? But anyway, my name's Dan, you've watched DanVinci, and if there was gonna be a video that was gonna kill me, it would be this one. So see you in the next one. Bye.